Hey guys, Mr. Yaisley here. So we're on to lesson number 17, and we're going to go through some examples of writing a quadratic function when we are given the vertex. So our vertex here is -3, 4 that they gave us, remembering again that -3 right here is our h, and then the 4 right here is our k. And so the first thing we need to do once we recognize that is we've got to put it into vertex form. So a reminder, vertex form is f of x equals a times x minus h, and that's all squared, plus k. And so once we've got that, we need to then plug the information in the appropriate spots. So first thing I want to do is rewrite it. Now remember, they didn't tell me anything about a, so we need to assume that a is 1 unless they tell us otherwise. So what we're going to have is f of x equals 1 times x minus, now h was -3, so I've got to put that in as a negative. And then that's all squared. And then plus k, well k is a +4, so that would be plus 4. Now the first thing again you probably noticed was this double negative right here, which should become a positive. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that as is. So f of x equals 1 times x plus 3 squared plus 4. Now according to PEMDAS rules, to simplify this down, the first thing we would deal with is simplifying inside parentheses, right? But we don't have anything we can do inside the parentheses, so we would move on to exponents. Well, we have x plus 3 squared. So if you remember, what that really means is it means x plus 3 times x plus 3. So again, we learned a little trick with this for a square of a binomial. So if you remember that, you can. But if not, you can always FOIL this out and work it through. So if I did FOIL, I'd get first term times first term. So x times x, which is x squared. Outside term, x times +3, which is +3x. Inside term, +3x. And last term, +3 times +3 is +9. Then I would combine that and I would come up with x squared plus 3x is 6x plus 9. Now again, if you remembered that trick that we had, all we simply had to do was multiply the first term times itself, the last term times itself, and then the middle two terms and double it. So if you remembered that, that's fine, but you can still get there using FOIL. So now I'm going to input that information in here. So f of x equals 1 times x squared plus 6x plus 9, and then that's all added with 4. Now the next thing I would need to do according to PEMDAS is multiplication, so I would need to distribute this +1 to every term inside parentheses. But as we've learned, that doesn't actually change anything. So I'm just going to bring it all down out of parentheses. So f of x equals x squared plus 6x plus 9, and then my plus 4. Now the last thing I would need to do here is I would need to combine any like terms. You probably noticed that we had +9 and +4 that are the same. So we're going to combine those. So f of x equals x squared plus 6x, 9 plus 4 is +13. And there would be my final answer down into quadratic form. So that is how we write, going through that process, that is how we write a quadratic form or quadratic function when given the vertex. All right, well, I would encourage you to try example B on your own, then come back, pause the video, of course, and then check your answer with mine. So first thing we need to do, again, identify the h and the k. So my first 8 here is the h, my next 8 here is the k. Then we're going to plug it into the quadratic, or the vertex form of a quadratic function. So f of x equals a, again, they didn't tell me anything, so I'm going to assume it's 1, times x minus h, and h this time is just a +8, so no double negative that time. And then that's squared And then plus k, well, my k is a positive 8, so plus 8. So then next thing I need to do is I need to simplify that all down. So first thing according to PEMDAS we have to do is the exponents. Well, it would be parentheses, but nothing to simplify in there at this point. So we need to do the parentheses, the exponent. So next thing I need to do, if you remember that trick, since this is a square of a binomial, I can multiply the first term times itself, so x times x, which is x squared. The last term times itself, negative 8 times negative 8 is positive 64. I can multiply the two together and then double it to get my middle term. So x times negative 8 is negative 8x. Double that is negative 16x. Now again, if you don't remember that trick, you can always write it out like we did on example A. But if you can remember that, you can go ahead and kind of skip ahead on that and go quickly. So then next thing we need to do is we need to distribute this positive 1. Now again, as we said, that's not going to change anything, so we're just going to write those terms without parentheses now. So x squared minus 16x plus 64 and then plus 8. And then last step here is we need to combine 64 and 8, which makes 72. So I've got f of x equals x squared minus 16x plus 72. And there is my final answer. All right, well that should give you what you need to do those problems on your assignment on worksheet 4. If you have any additional questions, please let me know.